Jason, quick question. When's the last time someone told you to just give it time and you actually felt better?
Never. That's like telling someone with a broken leg to walk it off.
Right. So why is that the default advice we give to anyone who's grieving? Today we're asking, is grief counseling actually evidence-based, or have we just pathologized being sad so therapists have something to bill for?
Wow. First of all, good use of the word pathologized. And today we've got a grief counselor, Tori Geter, here to either validate everything that we know or tell us that we're completely wrong.
Which, let's be honest, it happens a lot on this show.
This is The Pitch. What happens when a chiropractor and a physical therapist get together to make a health and wellness podcast?
But chiropractors and physical therapists don't like each other.
Oh, think again.
I'm Dr. Kathy Lynch, physical therapist who likes to help people move and get stronger.
I'm Dr. Jason Young, an evidence-based chiropractor who uses humor just as much as adjustments to help people get better.
Welcome to the Pitch Podcast.
Remember, there's no I in pitch. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Pitch Podcast. I'm Dr. Jason Young.
And I'm Dr. Kathy Lynch.
Okay, and today we have with us a special guest.
Very special.
This is our good friend, licensed clinical social worker, Tori Geter. Hi, Tori.
Hello.
Yes, welcome to the Pitch Podcast. So Tori's been a good friend of ours for a while.
Yes.
A while now.
Many
yes. Many months. Some of the best months.
The best
honestly.
months I've had.
Yes. And I know that I've sent a lot of people to Tori to get some help with grief stuff. So, Tori, want to ask you a bunch of questions about your background. How do you become a social worker? Like, where'd you go to school? Like, how did you get into this? So let's start with the school one. How do you become a social worker?
Yeah, start there.
Okay. So to become a licensed clinical social worker, you need to have a master's degree in social work.
So you are a master of social work.
Yeah, I also happen to be a master of public health.
Okay.
But that one doesn't get a license. So
You
yeah.
should have a license.
I'm going to start referring to you as master.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should do that.
Yes.
But
master.
anyhow, to get licensed, once you have the Masters of Social Work, you in the state of Oregon, every license is regulated by state. So in the state of Oregon, you need to spend approximately 2 to 3 years. It depends on the clinical setting that you're working in to accumulate a set number of supervised hours, and it is a lot of hours. I believe it's like 3,500 hours.
Wow.
And then you take a really long exam.
So it's not like being a doctor. Like you can't just go out, get a white robe and a red scarf and start calling yourself a doctor.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you have to put in a lot of time. It's like 2 to 3 years in the classroom, 2 to 3 years under clinical supervision.
Wow.
And then you take the test.
You have to pay lots of money.
Oh, my goodness.
You have to pass the test.
Yes, pay lots of money.
And then you have to pay the state lots of money.
Yes.
Yeah. And then once you get your license, then you have to maintain your license every 2 years through continuing education.
Okay.
And more money.
Okay. Take us back to young Tori and what brought you to this path.
Yes. Would 16-year-old Tori be like, oh my gosh, look, we're grief counselors now?
Yeah, 16-year-old Tori had no idea what a grief counselor was.
Okay.
Or even a counselor, a therapist, period. So there is a connection to young Tori, but it didn't, the awareness of that connection didn't come until much later, until after I had become a grief counselor, really. What brought me into grief counseling is and to get a licensed clinical licensed.
Yeah, we know the LCSW.
You know
we
that.
like it.
Yeah, thanks.
To be the real deal. To be master Tori Geter. Yes.
So I had been working as a public health practitioner with a labor union, and in that role, I had been doing a lot of, and do still, mental health awareness and suicide prevention, public health promotion. And there was a death by suicide in the labor union at the training center, and there was a need for a grief counselor to come on board. And when I was searching for a grief counselor, I found myself saying, man, I wish that I could be the grief counselor. And so that's kind of what prompted me to go back to school and get a second master's degree.
Okay.
And it was through my experience that really kind of solidified. I started working with clients who had been living with unresolved grief for long periods of time. I took a training and I was hooked. And I
Mm-hmm.
learned that going back to young Tori, I kind of was like born to do this. I
This is your
lost.
calling.
Yeah, it really is. It's personal to me.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, I think a lot of
Mhm.
counselors and therapists come
Mhm.
into this role because it's personal. And I think
Mm-hmm.
healthcare providers
Yeah.
in general, right?
Yep, most
Here we are.
chiropractors have been in some like horrible car crash or
Mhm.
maybe a torn ACL or two.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least
Mhm.
one.
Yeah, it really makes me worry about some counselors though. It's like, like is this the blind leading the blind or but well
So
and
double check that
those
there is a
people you know who
license.
you are, who you are or your colleagues know who you are.
I worry
But
about chiropractors too sometimes, you know.
touche. I probably worry a little more than you do.
They're definitely
Yeah,
the
but
blind.
definitely look for that license because the
Yeah.
license does tell you that there has
Yes.
been a lot of time and
Yeah.
effort. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Because there are some like fake grief counselors out there, right? Like, are there like grief influencers, I might call them, where people are just out there slinging advice with no training?
I don't know that it's with no training.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that grief is having a moment in
Mm.
like mainstream social
Oh,
media.
is it trending?
It is.
It's
It
trending.
is. It really
Wow.
is. Yeah. And
Is that hashtag grief or no?
probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm not a big social media
Uh-huh.
person, but it is definitely having a moment, and I'll say that that's a good thing.
Mm.
Okay.
You know, because we need to talk about grief more,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
Like the things that make grief hard that we'll get into are because our culture does not really have a framework for
Oh my
talking
gosh.
about hard things
Yeah.
or for how to navigate
Mhm.
loss and grief in general. But just to go back to like the influencers and
Yeah.
whether they're trained or not trained, there are a lot of I've seen like grief coaches. So there are a lot of
Mm.
people doing grief work that are
Mm-hmm.
not grief counselors, that are
Yeah.
not grief therapists.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And you know, I think that there's a place for those people as well, and it really just depends on what it is that people are wanting.
Mhm.
And maybe a good place to start is with a counselor and therapist, and then
Mhm.
kind of like ease into working with a coach if there's still more work to do. But you know, those coaches, those influencers are providing a good amount of education.
That
Probably
is
not all of them,
that is
but
not what I would have expected you to
No.
say.
yeah,
No.
It's
Not
really
at
interesting.
all.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, usually, like at least my experience has been like people with the education, the training, try and gatekeep, and it's like, no, listen, you don't know what you're talking
Right.
about. So
Mhm.
I don't
that's
like
kind
to
of cool to hear,
gatekeep.
though.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
don't want to gatekeep. I want people to know this information. And because I have
Mhm.
seen, you know, non-licensed and
Hmm.
non-therapist people
Mhm.
sharing really important information,
Hmm.
I think it's good.
Okay,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I will gatekeep spinal manipulation. Right?
You could
Yeah. Ouch.
not that it's very helpful, we know this
Hmm.
things. But anyway, back to Tori.
Yes.
Um, you mentioned about our society, like we go, what do you get? You get 3 days of bereavement off, and then I need you back at work.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's
wrap it
probably
up.
2 days too many.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's only because we live in the state of
You
Oregon that we have that.
get
Not all
3
states
days.
have that.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
you mentioned that culturally that's a thing for
Mhm.
us. Are there cultures where they do a really good job with this?
I am not an expert in, you know, global cultures or, you know, grief across different cultures, but
Hmm.
I do know that the answer is yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right? Like I know that in Mexico there is Dia de
Oh
los
yeah, yeah,
Muertos.
yeah.
You
Hmm.
know,
Yes. Mhm.
there are some societies where the people in mourning
Mhm.
wear a certain, you know, usually black for a period of
Hmm.
time to
Mhm.
indicate that they're in
Mhm.
mourning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems like there's cultures that are kind of much more in touch with like the idea of ancestors and things like that.
Hmm.
Whereas here it seems like it's like you got ghost stories and then that's it. So
And
Mhm.
what are ghost stories usually?
they're scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I had to tell Griffin and his little friends they can't watch scary movies at my house anymore. So
Mm,
yeah.
Okay.
right.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's sorry, Griff. Not sorry.
Not sorry, not sorry.
Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, there's some cultures also, and I guess we'll talk about death, right? There's all kinds of grief, right? But if we talk about the way that we handle death in our society, it's just so institutional,
Yes.
right? Where in other cultures, they'll have the deceased person maybe in the house for a week,
Yeah, that's
right?
mhm.
What is it? It's an Irish wake.
Oh, is that what the Irish do?
That's what Irish have. They have their deceased loved ones in the house for like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we kind of treat birth and death in similar ways. We
Yeah.
institutionalize
Mm-hmm.
both of the polar,
Yeah.
the
The bookends
sides of life.
Yes.
And yeah. So
Yeah.
we've done that, and I know that you guys are going to bring up the stages of grief, and
Yeah.
I think that now could be a really good time to talk about it
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
why it has like become so popular in our culture,
Mm-hmm.
because it kind of
Yeah.
connects to what we're talking about right now.
Well, let's do it. Take
Yeah.
us
Yes.
through those traditional stages of grief, because I've heard this a lot, and I don't know that. I mean, because everybody kind of goes through some loss, but I think that people have heard that there's steps like, what is it, like acceptance and
That's at the end.
Yeah,
anger
that's
and
Way at the end.
Oh, I'm going backwards through it. That's not a good sign.
Like there's denial.
I started.
There's denial.
denial.
You know what? You're going to be surprised. I don't even know, like by memory, what all the stages of
okay,
grief
yeah.
are.
Yeah,
That's-
But denial is one of them.
Yeah.
Anger is one of them.
Mhm.
Acceptance is one
Yes,
of them. I think
Bargaining.
yes, bargaining. That's
is one
right.
of them.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And is Bitcoin one? No,
No,
that's not one of them.
Bitcoin
Let's
is
see.
not
I
one of
have
them.
this I'm trying to think if maybe guilt is one of. I don't know.
Could be.
Anyways, it
Yeah.
doesn't. It
But
what matters
let's
most is
just
what-
yeah,
what
and
we're
let's
gonna
just
do.
say
We're going
that
through.
Yeah.
it's with your level of education, it kind of speaks to those stages that's just not even part of the core curriculum.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh well, that's a whole nother topic.
Oh, boy.
Curriculum.
Yeah, I mean, why don't counseling programs or masters of social work programs even have required coursework in grief and loss?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it should be.
like I had to seek out advanced training
training.
beyond
Really?
yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I did take one elective course because I was curious about
Uh-huh.
palliative care.
Yeah.
That was the only course that I had where we talked about death,
Yeah.
loss, and things like that. So yeah, I had to seek out additional advanced training beyond. But getting back to what we were talking about with the way that our culture responds to death and the stages of grief are like a really nice way to like package, right? Like
Yeah.
we
Yes.
are a society that loves to have rules for
Mhm.
how we do life, right?
Right.
And we track everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like we track our steps, we track
Mhm.
our calories, we track.
Mhm.
Well, and there's some finality, it seems like, to it. So it's like, oh, you did stage 5.
Good
Good.
job.
You're done grieving.
Yeah.
Yay.
I graduated.
You've
Woo!
accepted it.
Yeah, you don't have to be sad anymore.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go
Yeah.
back.
But the reality is that grief is very different.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so let's see. What I want to say is that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross
Yes.
is the psychiatrist who developed the stages of grief,
Mhm.
and she did not develop it for bereaved people.
Mm.
Really?
Yeah, the research that she did that led to the book
Uh-huh.
was done on people who lived with terminal illness, and it was their own internal process.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
Wow. Good to know.
Yeah, and it was never intended to be implemented or like change the way what we know of the stages of grief now were never her intention.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can be both problematic, but it can be a useful tool
Sure.
as
Yeah.
well, right? And
Sure.
I think that it's the gray area
Yeah.
that is important.
Yeah.
And so like not like as long as people know that this is just kind of like a framework, guidelines, but not hard rules.
Mhm.
The way that it becomes problematic is when then there's like these what a teacher of mine would call a second arrow,
Mm-hmm.
where then we start thinking that there's something wrong with us because we're not doing grief right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm supposed to be going through
I'm
these.
supposed to be going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not linear.
No,
And
it's
it
not
doesn't
linear.
progress to
Yeah.
acceptance
Yeah.
in one.
And there's no end point.
Right. There is
Which would
none.
be a good time to bring out the concept of the grief jar so that I can
Yes,
demonstrate that
please.
there is no
Yes.
end point.
Mhm.
Can I get my jars now?
Yes, and
Please.
I've been asked to narrate this portion for the people that are
Okay.
listening. Please continue to drive your car. Drive safely.
Yes.
Yes.
Eyes on the road at all time, lest we need a grief therapist.
She's bringing out
Um,
grief jars.
Yes, these are mason jars. That looks like a 1 pint, maybe. No.
Yeah, I think that is a
Yeah.
1 pint
A 1
jar
pint,
that
yes.
has the largest ball. So
Yes.
we tend to think, if you think of the jar as life
Mhm.
and the ball as grief,
Mm.
we tend to think that what happens with grief over time is that grief just gets smaller
Mm.
Smaller ball.
and oh yeah, and there was a smaller ball
Mhm.
and smaller
Mm.
until we reach the end point where it's gone.
Just empty. Yeah, we don't need this anymore.
Right. But what actually happens, bringing out a quart-sized jar
Hmm.
and a gallon-sized jar. When we experience a loss, initially, the
Mhm.
grief
Yeah.
from that loss is all that we can feel.
Mhm.
It fills up
It's
most of that
bumping up
jar.
against every
Yes.
aspect of our life.
You can't get
Right.
away from it.
So
Yeah.
we got the
Yep.
big ball in the smallest jar.
Mm-hmm.
And then life carries on.
Mhm.
There's a model that I want to introduce, but I want to get through this first. But we will talk about this exercise again as I introduce that model.
Yeah.
But as life goes on, as an individual reinvests in life after loss,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
does some processing of
Mhm.
their grief, what happens is our life actually gets bigger.
You get a bigger jar.
We have more space.
Yes.
And so then as life continues to go on, you
The
can
gallon
see
jar.
that
Mm.
like grief is still there. Grief is still the
Mhm.
same size.
Yeah.
It's just not bumping up against every aspect of our life.
Mm. Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love that. I
That
love
is
that.
a really great visual.
Yeah.
You know, this is so a lot of this has already made me think a lot about like the most significant grief experience I had, which was losing my mom. And that was a weird one because when we got the diagnosis, first of all, because I'm in healthcare, I understood what the diagnosis meant. It was devastating to me. I remember I mean, if you want to talk about institutionalizing grief and everything like that, I remember I found out when I was at work, I was sitting in my office, I cried my eyes out. I had about 10 minutes to process that. And then I had to go to work because I had patients. And so I just like kept working the rest of the day.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Then like went, got massage, like got a chance to kind of clear my head. And I made a decision that I was not going to mourn my mom while she was alive.
Hmm.
And so like I didn't the way that I behaved around her, I think was difficult for some of my family members because they were like, he's not taking this seriously. And like, why isn't he trying to build memories and moments and stuff? And I was just trying to spend time with my mom while I still had my mom. And she appreciated that. We had conversations. She's
I
like,
bet she did.
yeah, she's like, you don't act weird around me. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that's not to say anything bad about my other family members, because I don't think they were trying to act weird. They were trying to build something significant for her. But
Yeah.
but I think that they interpreted what I was doing as like
Hmm.
being callous or pushing it down or something like that.
Avoiding it.
Yeah. And then after we lost her, I felt like I kind of had a head start on that whole process. And I think there were some people that didn't like my reaction then. But somebody gave me a really great piece of advice that really resonates with that jar analogy. They said, this never gets better. It just gets further away.
Mm.
And I was like, oh. And so I think as I've gone forward, it's given me some opportunities where I get really sad that she's gone, or like something great, like my daughter got engaged this weekend. And
yep.
so the very first thing, oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh, yeah.
It
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, it happened. Yeah.
Yay, Taylor!
The very first thing,
Congratulations.
the very
Taylor.
first thing that I wanted to do was call my mom
Oh,
and tell her,
yep.
right?
Yep.
And but because I know that it doesn't get smaller, like that doesn't go away. It just gets further away, and I have a bigger jar, and I think that's such a great analogy.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Love that.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that I want to say, and I'm like, should we just have a session right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Because you touched on a lot of different points. So I guess the first one is there's this model, and you can feel free to hold it up if you want
Yeah,
to.
so she's got some visuals and stuff, and what
Mhm.
we'll do is we'll make that available to everybody.
Cool.
I'll try. Actually, what I'll do is I'll just cut them in. So
Yeah.
you give me your visuals, and it'll pop up for people who are
Great.
looking at it. But
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to
yeah,
walk
reference
through it.
away.
I'm pretty good at like talking through the visuals. So this is called the dual process model. And if you think of like one large bubble as life, and then one bubble, like medium sized bubble on one side that represents the grief and the loss.
Hmm.
And then on the other side, the bubble that represents your life after loss. And the key term is reinvesting in life after loss. Okay.
Mhm.
And so then you want to imagine that you're oscillating between the loss
Yes.
and reinvesting in life after loss.
Mhm.
So, what happens when a person um, does not do that oscillating is kind of when grief can get a little funky,
Mhm.
Hmm.
right? So, if a person gets stuck in the loss and grief only,
Mhm.
then that can lead to what the DSM calls prolonged grief disorder.
Mm.
Oh, it's
And that
actually
can,
a disorder.
Mm.
yes, and that
Mhm.
can lead
Interesting.
to significant impairment
Mhm. Yeah.
over, functional impairment over
Yeah.
time. And if one avoids the grief and loss altogether and just stays in like just life,
Hmm.
Mhm.
part, like, what can happen is, and not always, because a lot of people in our society are really good at the avoiding part.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's an easy place to avoid things. We stay busy, we stay productive, we, do.
Hmm.
But you can experience delayed grief. And that happened to
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
So when you experience delayed grief, that grief, those like grief symptoms,
Mhm.
the classic ones that we think of, right? Tearfulness,
Okay.
Yeah.
depression,
Mhm.
anxiety, they can emerge much later. They can emerge years, decades
Mhm.
later.
Mhm.
And just like any emotion that we suppress, it can emerge in unrecognizable ways.
Mhm.
Mm.
So, yeah. Yeah, so that's why I really help clients identify, and this education, this psychoeducation, as we
Mhm.
call it,
Nice.
is really helpful for people to understand. Like, okay, am I spending enough time with my grief?
Right.
And that can look like a number of things. You mentioned that when your daughter got engaged, the
Mhm.
first thing that you wanted to do was call your mom.
Mhm.
So if you were my client,
Mhm.
I would recommend that you write your mom a letter.
Mm.
Mhm.
And there are ways that we can maintain bonds with our loved one. It's actually called continuing bonds
Ooh,
Hmm.
theory.
I like
Okay.
this. I like this.
And it just depends on what your relationship was to the person who died, right?
Hmm.
How that continuing bond is for you. There are things called linking objects
Mm.
that link you to that person and help you continue that bond.
I have some of those.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, anything like pictures, clothing items.
Hmm.
I have my dad was a probation officer. I have
Hmm.
his badge.
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Gosh, I think I have a couple of those things
I got a
actually.
lot of those
You do,
things.
Do
Yeah.
yeah.
you?
So Jason and I have some things in common. Another thing in common. I lost my mom tragically in a car accident.
Mm.
Oh
I
wow.
was 29. And so I still feel like I wasn't fully an adult
Yeah.
at the time, and
Yeah.
I grieved hard. She was
Yes.
my favorite person in the world.
Yes.
I wasn't with anyone at the time, and so she was my confidant, the person I called. I always uh uh, trusted her opinion. Like
Yeah.
she would tell it to me straight.
Yeah.
Even though she knew I might bite her head off, she would just tell me what I needed to hear
Yeah.
versus what I wanted to hear, like the tough love kind of stuff.
Right.
And so I grieved hard for that
Yeah.
one. And I still have stuff around the house. And Ingo will be like, "Can we throw this out?" I'm like, "No, my mom gave that to
Yeah.
me."
Why are you trying to
Yes,
throw away my
why?
mother? Yeah.
She's like, "Okay." And she kind of like walks
Yeah.
away. I
Yeah.
have tons of that stuff
I
still.
do too.
I'm still
Yeah.
hoarding it.
Oh,
Do you have
My
I
some
wouldn't
advice
even
for me?
Well, one of my favorite things that I have is, and it's kind of ironic. My mom collected crystals, so she has
Oh,
these
yeah.
really like big crystals, and she
like
gave,
woo-woo crystals?
yeah, like
Oh, I
there's a
like
big
your
quartz
mom.
one and like an amethyst and stuff like that. So she gave them to each of her kids, and they all just like gradually made their way to my clinic because they're like, well, Jason's a chiropractor. He can probably put these to good use.
Under the table.
Yeah, totally. So I have a room where they are, and every once in a while, when I have somebody who comes in and they're really skeptical and stuff like that, and I'm like, listen, I'm evidence-based. We don't do any of that weird crap, okay? And then they're like, okay. And so I'm like, okay, well, let's do an exam. We're gonna do some range of motion. I need you to hold one of these in each hand.
You do that?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so then they're holding these crystals and they're like, okay. And I'm like, give me those back. And so yeah, I get to think about my mom all the time because my entire business is kind of she wanted to be a chiropractor.
Did she
And-
really?
oh
That's
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Talk
so
about like purpose.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
yeah,
yeah, I get to think about her
legacy.
all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and Kathy, like, I mean, I don't know that hoarding is the right way to describe what, but because I also have a lot of things
Okay.
from, I lost a significant, like, the people that I was most attached to by the time I was 19.
Wow.
Oh geez.
Wow.
And when you like the way that you described you losing your mom, that's when like a loss actually becomes an attachment trauma. Because
So what does that mean, attachment
Pretty
trauma?
much.
you know, because Kathy was attached.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you know
Very
anything about attachment theory?
I don't.
Okay.
Well, tell us
Yeah.
more about
I
that.
don't
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm like properly prepared to teach
Okay.
about attachment theory, but
You could just
Just
give
wait.
us
Brief
you
summary.
could just
yeah,
give us a
it's
synopsis.
basically
Yeah.
like the way that we attach to the people in our early childhood
Yeah.
is the way that we orient to relationships.
That totally makes sense.
Right? And
Yeah.
so there is
Oh,
secure
yeah.
attachment, there
Yes.
is anxious attachment, there is
Right.
avoidant attachment. But you described it really well that like who your mom was to you, and when she was gone, you no longer had that person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I guess going back to the stuff, like I also like I lost my dad, my grandpa, and my grandma all by the time I was 19, and
That's rough.
and they were primary attachment figures,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so I have stuff that I still, you know, I love to
Mhm.
look through pictures. My grandma was she would have loved to be a journalist, so she wrote a lot of letters to the editor. So I still have those. I've got my dad's badge, and I also have family friends who are linking objects.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
able to, you know, stay in
Yep.
touch with family friends
Yeah.
who can share stories about those people that, you know, I was so young that I didn't get those stories
Right.
Yeah.
before they died. And so now I
Right.
rely on the people who knew them sometimes even
Yes.
before I was born, right?
Well, do
Like,
you think that some of these attachments, these objects or people, do you think that they kind of remind you to be a certain way or a certain person? Do you know what I mean by that? Like,
yeah,
so
they
like,
act as an anchor.
yeah, like
Mhm.
when my grandfather passed away, and he was the anchor of his family, like just represented stability in every way, like spiritual stability, financial stability, everything. He was
Mhm.
great guy. And so whenever we're cleaning out his house, everybody's like, oh, he had these hats, and everybody's like, oh yeah, I want a hat, you know. And this is in Philadelphia. And by his bed, he had this like Louisville Slugger bat. And
That's
and I was like, that's mine.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so I took that, and when you go into my house, it's hanging above the front door.
Cool.
And yes, I will crack somebody in the head with it if they come busting in my house. But
sure.
but mainly it's there because it's a reminder to me that I should be that security for my family.
Oh, I love
And
that.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, so
That's
I'm
cool.
done with that
Yeah.
sentence now.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Well, and also, you know,
Raul, do you have onions? Are you the onion
Yeah.
guy? Are you peeling onions?
It's
over there?
allergy season
Oh, I
in the
see.
Willamette Valley. Guys.
I was like,
Yes.
what are we talking about here?
No,
But now I
no,
get
I'm
it. We're
good.
talking about tears.
Yeah, I just
Okay,
I
we're
just
talking
had
about tears.
a little health
Right.
issue
You
there
guys
for a
are really
second.
making a good point that
Yes.
like
Yeah.
It's that
we
grief
have
is
to
still
make-
there.
yeah,
and
we-
the
we have
jar's
to-
just bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to make
Kathy,
notes.
why did we sign up for therapy today? This is such a stupid idea.
This is great. I've been needing this.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
But you know what?
Yeah.
The one thing that I love about this too, and I think you probably agree, I love talking about my mom.
Yes.
But, there's only so many people left in the world that knew her.
Yeah.
Luckily I have 2 brothers and
Yeah.
my aunt and uncle still that knew her,
Yeah.
and so in this life here in Oregon, people don't know my mom, they didn't know her, and so, I don't get to talk about her a lot, but
I can relate to
yeah.
that. Yeah, I
Mhm.
was gonna say something that you were mentioning earlier is that like when a person who is a primary attachment figure or even a secondary attachment figure in our life dies, we lose a part of our identity.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
there's like when you mentioned onions, I was like, yeah, we are talking about layers, but no, we're
Yeah.
talking about
Woo.
tears,
Yeah.
but we are talking about layers. Layers. There are layers to loss, right?
Yeah.
That we don't think about. And I can relate to that. I have kept uh my grandparents and my dad kind of their spirit alive through talking about them to my
Mhm.
children. And I think anybody who knows me well knows my grandma and grandpa and
Mhm.
dad. Like,
Yeah.
Same.
and I have, thought about the fact that like I think my kids mostly just tolerate it and maybe think I'm weird because I talk about them so much.
Yeah.
Kids
But,
do that
yeah.
to adults?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
But I have thought about like when I
Yeah.
die, I will my sister and I will be the last people on this
Yeah.
earth who like really knew
Knew them.
them.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't it weird?
But you know what's interesting about that too is it's also the most normal thing in the world.
Yep.
Yeah, because most of the people in the world have like no attachment. Most of the people who've been in the world, like it's just like those attachments fade away, and it's just I don't know what's part of nature or something like that. It's just hard for
Yeah.
the people that are left, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
So
is. Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, the last I heard, none of us make it out alive.
yeah,
I mean, I think
People are
there's probably
trying.
people working
yeah.
on
Oh,
this,
you
but
you clearly need to go to the chiropractor.
oh, what does the back of your shirt say?
Yeah. It's harder to
Oh,
kill.
harder.
Yeah.
Not impossible.
Not impossible. Not impossible, just harder to kill. Try to
Oh
kill.
my
Yeah.
goodness. Can you talk about something real quick? Because I know sometimes when I've talked to you or like listened to you speak, you tell us and remind us that what you do is not just about death and dying. There's
Yeah.
other
Mhm.
things that can cause you grief.
Mhm.
And so you help
Yeah.
people with things that aren't just about like the loss of a loved one.
Yeah.
So can you tell us more about that?
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I had wanted to make sure to bring that up. So,
I
yeah,
got you.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, grief is not just about death loss, right?
Mhm.
Like grief is about any kind of loss. So, for example, I have worked with people who are experiencing aging, right?
Mhm.
And losing the autonomy that they previously
Mhm.
had
Oh, yeah.
and like figuring out how to reinvest in
Life.
life after the
Ah.
Yeah.
loss of the
Yeah.
autonomy that they used to have, and also mourning the fact that they
Yeah.
can't do the things that they used to do.
Yeah.
Pickleball.
Pickleball.
They can't do pickleball
They
anymore.
can't play football either.
Can you imagine though, like,
Yeah.
I mean, some
Yes.
people love pickleball so
Sure,
much, and
they do.
if a person who loves pickleball so
Mhm.
much can no
Mhm.
longer play pickleball.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that can
Mhm.
happen even without aging, right? Like if there is some kind of change in mobility in
Yeah.
Yeah.
any
I see that
way,
all the
shape, or form.
time.
I bet you do.
Mhm.
I bet you both see that a lot.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
mostly see people getting it back. I don't know what you're talking about, Kathy. Yeah.
It's the crystals. It's your mom's crystals.
Okay, yeah, that's what it is. Most of the crystals,
yeah.
yeah.
Most of the crystals. I need one of
But
those.
like even just like divorce
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a really,
Big.
really big loss for a
Mhm.
lot of people. Some people it's a gain, but
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because that's like, I heard somebody, multiple people actually describe divorce as like somebody threw a hand grenade in the middle of my family.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Mhm.
I fortunately have no experience with that. But I could imagine just because how I feel about my family, that sounds like
Mhm.
terrible, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Losing a job,
Losing a job.
that
Yes.
is a major loss.
You lose your identity,
Yep.
right? Yeah,
Yep.
our
Mhm.
identities
So much
are
of us,
so
yeah.
wrapped up in
Yep.
our jobs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there's a lot
Mhm.
of non-death loss that
Yeah.
people can, work through that grief and
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm a Beaver fan, so sometimes we.
Oh, I bet you experience a lot of grief.
Hey! That's not what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't
No, we
follow.
got good. I was just going to talk about the Pac-12. That's
don't
it. No.
even-
Yeah,
People
but
still
no.
going through that
But
grieving process.
but you're saying that this can apply to multiple facets of our life. And,
Absolutely.
um,
I experienced some grief when my kids moved to college.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet.
Parenting is such an intense season of life.
Yeah.
Mm.
And they need you so much for so many
Mhm.
different things, and then they're
Mm.
gone and they don't need you anymore, and
Mm.
they may or may not answer your text message or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I
Mhm.
experienced grief from
Mhm.
that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
bet. I
Mhm.
bet.
Yeah.
Well, and even with the good news about the marriage,
Yeah.
I've been going through that too, where it's
Ooh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
you know, last week I just got this feeling like, hey, let's get Taylor home for a
Mhm.
weekend or something
Yeah.
like that. And so I texted my wife and she's like, yep, definitely, let's do it. So we booked her a flight out here and everything. I was like, oh, great. And then 3 days later, she's engaged. And I'm thinking, I'm so glad that we did this because we don't get this opportunity
Nope.
again, right? We
That's
don't
the end of
That's
that.
we don't
right.
get an opportunity where it's like, yeah, you could just come here and be our daughter and,
Yes.
you know, we are our family. And
Yes.
so it's just wrapping my head around the fact that like the family unit that's going to be the most important to her now is going to be the one that she's making, not the
Yes.
one that
Yeah.
I made
Yeah.
perfectly. You know, and it was amazing.
Do we have your children out here?
Like no, like it's never nobody's ever done it like this
No.
before.
Right.
And yeah,
Did you write the book yet? Because
no.
we have been waiting for the
Yeah.
blueprint.
We are waiting for
We
that.
really have.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
time.
We're actually before we release it, we got to talk about the movie rights and everything. So
Oh,
the
yeah,
lawyers are
of course,
lawyering.
Yeah. It's got to be a
So-
TV series, though.
it is going to be a TV series. There's
Yeah.
actually going to be a whole station around it.
Okay, cool.
It's like ESPN, but for like me as a dad making a family.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
But getting back to grief, I wanted to bring up there are like lots of different types of grief.
Yeah.
And I think I wanted to just share a couple.
Mhm.
What we have been talking about with the kids, that is called ambiguous loss
Ooh.
or ambiguous grief,
Okay.
where there is a loss, but it's not a death, and
Mhm.
it's not like what we would typically think of something that you would mourn or that you would be able to
It's
go
not
like
bad.
talk about. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
not
but
all
it's
bad.
still a loss and a
Right.
grief.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then there is ambiguous loss can also apply because I think that this is really important for listeners too, is that when a person has Alzheimer's,
Oh.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
there's the person is still alive.
Mhm.
It's like
Um,
losing them in real time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or when there is
Yes.
estrangement, like family
Mhm.
estrangement,
Mhm.
there is a lot of grief and
Yeah.
loss related
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
There's another type of loss that's called disenfranchised loss.
Ooh.
And grief. And that's a type of loss where like we don't typically think that somebody should experience grief. So for example, Oregon is really good at this, but there are states where a pet loss would be
Oh, yeah.
disenfranchised. I think
Mhm.
Oregon is a very pet-centric state, but there are places in the world where if a pet died and a person was grieving, it would feel disenfranchised because they
Mm.
wouldn't be able to talk about it. They
Right.
wouldn't have support. They
Mm,
wouldn't have like the
mhm.
typical type of
Sympathy,
supports.
yeah.
Yeah, sympathy,
Mhm.
things like
Mhm.
that. And losing an ex spouse, like an ex spouse or
Mm.
ex partner, like
Mhm.
there is grief for some people.
Sure.
Yeah.
When an ex spouse dies,
Sure.
and that is definitely disenfranchised.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, and then the last one I wanted to just mention is anticipatory grief.
Oh, yeah.
So you kind of described anticipatory grief
Yeah.
in the way that you and your siblings kind of responded to that
Mhm.
anticipatory grief differently,
Mhm.
which was a good. You highlighted really well how grief responses are very individualized,
Yes.
very unique to
Mhm.
the person, to the relationship that the person had with the person who's dying or the thing that
Mhm.
is being lost.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
anticipatory grief can also be really hard.
Yeah.
When you're kind of sitting on eggshells. Um, and there's secondary loss. So when a person dies, there are oftentimes um, a death will completely reorient a family
Yeah.
or a change,
Yeah.
right? Like you described with your daughter getting
Mhm.
married,
Mhm.
will completely reorient a family. And so
Mhm.
there are secondary losses involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I know her sister, who's her best friend, who isn't like living here right now. She has a lot of questions about like how does this change our relationship? And so, yeah, it's just I think the thing that's interesting about it is that what's that saying? The only thing that's constant is change.
Change, yeah.
Yeah.
And but man, it can be so difficult because
Yeah.
we are comfort seeking animals.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like when you arrive at comfort, hang on,
You want it
because
for dear life.
yeah, because
Yes.
well, because everything's about to change, and so I think it's good work to work on how resilient you are to change, and also I think how forgiving you can be of yourself when you're going through change, whether that's
Mhm.
loss or gain or
Yeah.
just things that are different. I think, and we see a lot of people who experience like the secondary effects of
Yeah.
this,
Hmm.
whether it's like loss of mobility, loss of a person, all those things kind of show up and manifest in their life physically too.
I bet they manifest and show up in your offices.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm.
if, I mean, I presume this is a healthcare podcast. So
Yeah.
I presume there are other healthcare professionals that, so I would just like to plug, like,
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
totally.
what I wish that healthcare professionals understood
Yeah.
about loss and grief
Hmm.
is that there are actual, like, physical and cognitive and emotional manifestations of
Mhm.
grief
Yeah.
and loss that are showing up in their offices that may not, be initially like acknowledged as loss
Mhm.
and grief, and so it can be helpful,
Mhm.
like if you find someone coming into your office, like you have done a really good job, Jason, at like checking in, like have you experienced a loss recently,
Mhm.
Hmm.
or have you experienced a significant loss, period, ever,
Yeah.
Period.
right? Like
Yeah.
because of
Well,
some of those delayed grief
and
responses.
there's one that we talked about even
Yes.
recently,
Yeah.
like where somebody came in and just asked, how are you doing? And I think they had taken a trip to a funeral, and a lot of times like, oh, a funeral, that's sad. Like, let's move on to the stuff that you're here
Yeah.
for. But I think sometimes it's just a matter of just taking a second and to be like,
Mhm.
because I think the question I asked was this somebody close?
Mm.
Right.
And then that opened up like a
Yeah.
whole
Mhm.
can of worms. And I
Yeah.
think that typically providers, especially when you're on a schedule, it's like
Yeah.
I got X amount of time to see you,
Mhm.
right? And so let's not wander, but you can really hesitate to be like, okay, we don't want to or I don't want to hurt your feelings by talking about,
Right.
the thing that's bugging you. But I think that having a professional that I can refer to
Hmm. Hmm.
allows me to kind
Yeah.
of reach out in that way. In this case, and this is the thing with dudes is nobody's asking dudes how they feel,
No.
right?
Dudes need
And
to be asked how they
They
feel a
do.
lot
absolutely.
more.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
that was the biggest deal was that so this dude was like, and he's a dude. Nobody's asked me.
Right.
Nobody's asked me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it really meant a lot that somebody just asked him how he
Yeah.
was doing.
Well, and I
And
think the more important question that you asked was, were you close to this
Mm.
person
mm,
who died?
Mhm.
did
Mhm.
I ask
Honestly.
that? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Well,
Mhm.
and so it's like, okay, that guy got a good adjustment that day, but it's not the most important thing that I
Right.
did. And so
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
having resources
Mhm.
that you can connect people
Right.
with in that moment, that day, I mean, he's having the worst time of his life. It's like an adjustment's not going to fix that. He's not
Yeah.
like two like pistol squats away,
Yeah. Yeah.
from feeling better. You got to get him connected with somebody
Sure.
good. And so,
Well, but the other thing that you did, Jason, and I like to say this often, grief likes to be witnessed. I actually like think
Mm.
of grief as a
Yes.
living thing,
100%.
and grief really
Mhm.
does not does it just like to, but it really needs
Mm.
to be witnessed, and
Mhm.
you did that.
Yeah.
what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, just having an opportunity to share and be vulnerable in a safe space where, in this example, you asked this person, were you close to the person who
Mhm.
died? And that tapped into something for that person
Mm,
around like, actually, I, no, sorry, my hand.
you're fine.
I've been like carrying, this person and
Mm-hmm.
this loss and this grief is inside of me, and now
Mm-hmm.
somebody's asking me to show it to them.
Mm.
And that's actually how grief gets metabolized, because otherwise it just stays
I
in
like
us.
that. Grief
Yeah.
gets metabolized.
Mm.
Mm.
I remember the morning after my mom's accident, I just was like on the couch, like staring at the TV, like, how is the world continuing to
Yeah.
go, right?
What's
Like,
wrong with
how,
you people?
what,
Yeah.
the world
Yeah.
needs
We
to
need a
stop.
pause
I need to
button.
pause.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you laughing? You know,
Right.
I just
Yeah.
remember like
Yeah.
being like, how do I go on with
Yeah.
the world doesn't know how much pain I'm in,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. And it was
Yep.
1 month before 9/11. And when
Oh,
9/11 came,
Jeez.
oh,
I
talk
didn't
about
care. I
grief.
could care
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Hey, my mom died a month
Right.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need the same attention
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
these people are
See,
getting."
your grief was like
Yes.
Yeah.
demanding,
Yes.
demanding
It
witness.
was.
Yep.
It was.
Yep.
So, this a little tangent, and then you talked about healthcare providers, witnessing this. Do you have tips, like, how can we
Yeah.
bring this up? What do we say?
Yeah. Okay. So I think about this. You know how Oregon has done a really good job at the trauma informed,
Mhm.
trauma informed Oregon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All healthcare providers, I think, have been trained in some kind of trauma informed. I would say trauma and grief informed,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
because really, like, trauma and grief go together.
Yeah.
They kind of are business
Yeah.
partners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really are. And so simply, like, if, for example, you have a client or a patient or whatever
Mhm.
you call your people that come in, coming in and having, expressing outward symptoms or sharing that they are experiencing any number of symptoms, like cognitive impairment can be a symptom of grief.
Mm-hmm.
The obvious
Yeah.
one is crying, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
tension. You guys might
Mhm.
see like muscle tightness,
Mm-hmm.
um, anxiety.
Mhm.
So depression for
Yeah.
sure. I think that a simple question, really, like I said earlier, in addition to oftentimes primary care doctors will say, well, let's get you a prescription,
Yeah.
right, for that anxiety
Mm-hmm.
or for that
Right.
depression, which is not a bad thing.
Right.
It can help, kind of bridge the gap.
Take the edge off.
But it would be helpful if an additional question were asked around, have you experienced a trauma or loss in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Adding that in.
Great.
Yeah.
Adding that
Thank
in.
you. Yeah. And I wanted to say too, even just like to the non-healthcare professionals who are listening, is that, like, oftentimes, people will be like, oh, so now I want to tell everybody about, like, oh, you might need to go to grief therapy.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
push.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody, right?
Right.
Like, not sometimes people actually need to avoid a loss for a period of time, and
Oh.
that's just the way that they
Oh.
have
Yeah.
to do it.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is good to know.
Like, sometimes it's necessary. For example, when my grandma died when I
Yeah.
was 19, she died by suicide. It was
Yeah.
a very traumatic and sudden
That's
loss.
traumatic. Yeah.
I had a 3-month-old baby.
Oh.
You got to take care of the baby.
I had to
Whoa.
get on with life.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to, like, just do the things.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I wasn't consciously avoiding it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but there wasn't, like, a doorway for me
Yeah.
to process that
Mhm.
grief at that period of time.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until
Yeah.
20 years later.
Yeah.
Delayed onset.
Or I had patients that day, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
those people's
Right.
fault
Yeah.
Right.
that I got bad news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like sometimes
Yeah.
you just gotta be able to compartmentalize and get through for a little
So
bit.
something that I share with clients when they bring this up and they're like, I'm so worried about so and so because they're
Yeah.
avoiding,
Yes.
they're not
Yeah.
processing. I encourage them not to push people, because we know what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
And, like, one of the best things you can say is, you need therapy. Right? Like, that's gonna work.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've learned
Yeah.
the hard way.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I recommend planting seeds.
Mhm.
Like, I've shared with you both, I think, like, just say, like, oh, I happen to know a grief therapist and she's
Mhm.
shared
Yeah.
all these things. Like, there's this really cool model. Are you interested in learning more? Or I will say things like, if it's a family unit, and if there is concern that, like, a younger person is not going to know the person who died as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
Right.
create a legacy box
Mm.
for that
Yeah.
younger person, so that when that younger person is
When they're
ready or
ready, yeah.
wants to, then there is stuff that they can go to.
That's cool. It's
Yeah.
a really good idea.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I think that my go-to, like, because I get it. Like saying you need a therapist is it's very in your face, and that's almost like saying repeat after me. No, uh, but
I think it would be a 4-letter word.
my go-tos are that sounds really difficult. Do you have somebody that you can talk to about that? Because sometimes for people the thought is, well, I've got my wife or I've got my friends or and then I followed up with like, do you think that it would help to talk to somebody about it? And then even if they say yes, like I've got my family or something, I ask, do you think it would help to talk to somebody about it? Because they might be thinking, I can't tell my wife all of my feelings about this. Because I think sometimes whenever you admit those things, it's a threat to the security of those relationships.
Totally.
And so it's like it helps to have a third party that there's no stakes for being able to, I guess, get all your feelings out there.
That's why, I mean, therapy, I think, is a profession, and it's a really important profession because I know I've experienced this, and I guarantee you most therapists have, where the majority of clients will say, I've never said this out loud to anybody before.
I bet you hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't say that at the chiropractor or the physical therapist.
Jason's got a microphone.
It's a physical therapist.
Yes.
You can do things like, I've never done this in front of somebody before. Then
okay,
it's like, yes.
Psychotherapist.
Yes,
Let me clarify, psychotherapist.
Okay, let me ask you, because I think everybody could use this, but give us like a good go-to if you're seeing a friend who has lost somebody close to him, like friend found out that their parent died or something like that. Like, what do you say to that person the first time you see them?
That's so
I know. Honestly, even as a grief counselor, there's not like the one right thing to say. It's really mostly about being present, not trying to fix or change.
Right.
Yeah.
If you have loss experience yourself, maybe like not go into like and make it about you, but just say like, I can relate. I lost a parent or
Yeah.
and is there anything that you need? Like, do you want to talk about it, or do you want? I know a great grief therapist. You want to talk? Like I know that some people have benefits, or there's other resources. Speaking of resources, I sent you guys some resources.
Oh, good. Yes.
There's a couple of really great books and podcasts specific to grief.
Awesome.
That can be really helpful. In fact, one of the moments that grief is having is that Anderson Cooper started this podcast a couple of years ago called All There Is.
Yeah.
And he literally in real time is processing his grief from like his delayed grief.
His father committed suicide, right?
Yeah, his father, I believe, maybe even also his brother died by suicide, and then his mom died, and it was like his mom's death that kind of was the thing that was like cracked open that delayed grief, which is often the case. It will be like it will be a current loss that then cracks open the delayed grief from past losses. And he was young when he lost his father, and so that's a very unique type of loss. So so that's one really great podcast that I put on the resource list. But
so I'll make sure that all of the resources that you shared make it into like the show notes. So if you're like listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it'll be in those notes so you have access to it. So
I think the best advice I got actually was somebody came up to me at the funeral and they said, don't let anybody tell you how you should grieve. Right? Like there's no
that feels so supportive, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I do repeat that to people too.
That's
like
a great
best
one.
advice
Say
I
it
got
again,
was,
Kathy.
don't let anybody tell you how to grieve.
Yep.
Yeah. You're gonna do it how you do it. And my brothers and I, but all three grieved differently. My older brother had a child and a wife, and so he had things he had to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I was single. My younger brother was single.
Yep.
And we've all grieved differently. So
same with my sister and I. Yeah. So it's just
and it's okay. It's okay to grieve differently because I think that at the end of the day, we're all just kind of struggling to make it through, right?
It's hard to be human.
It really is hard to be human.
Yes.
It's a full body contact sport.
For real.
And it's also not fair. right? It's totally not fair.
No.
Especially in modern society. I think that
Yes.
there was maybe a time when we were more connected and
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
And I think that that's one of my go-tos also is like when somebody is like I find out somebody lost somebody, I like to go to that's not fair. And
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
not like
Mhm.
that it's not fair that the person is gone because who knows if they were like 19 or
Right.
92, but I think that it's okay to acknowledge that it's like it's not fair that you have to feel like this about
Yeah.
somebody that you cared and that you loved about and I I think that for some people that's kind of comforting,
Mhm.
a little bit of
Mhm.
empathy. Empathy's
Yeah.
okay.
Empathy's good.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Empathy is really good.
It's all
Yeah.
right. No. Hey Tori, every guest that comes on, we play a game.
It's
No,
game
I
Would you
time.
like
don't
to play a
like
game?
games. No, I
Yeah.
don't like games.
Well,
All
I
right, I'll
came
do my
I
best.
came up
My
with a
face is
game
gonna turn
that
red.
that you're probably not going to lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Have you ever done Mad Libs before?
Oh yeah.
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 So we're gonna do a Mad Libs about grief counseling. Okay. Uh,
So am I okay, but I'm not being literal, like I'm being goofy, like Mad Libs are supposed to be goofy or
all
what?
I'm gonna
Like,
do is I'm gonna ask you for types of
Yeah.
words, so like a noun,
Mhm.
adjective, verb,
Just give it.
and if you
okay.
don't know what a pronoun
If I
or
don't know
a
what a
proper noun or
okay.
an adverb is, I will
We're
prompt
gonna
you.
know that
Right?
like
Just
those
just
two
touch
master's
your
degrees really
nose.
brought me
Yes,
far.
touch your nose, and the people that are listening won't
Won't
know
know.
that.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna prompt you one at a time for these. We're looking for 10 words. We've done
Oh
these
my
in the
gosh.
past.
And I have to give all 10?
All
It's
10.
gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be
Okay.
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 It'll go quick. We've done
Yeah.
these in the past, and I think
They're
the
fun.
worst one I did, I think we were looking for like 20 words,
Yeah.
and
It was long.
yeah,
That's a lot
like
of words.
17 minutes later, people are not listening, but it ended up funny.
Okay,
Okay,
let's go.
so here we
Let's
go.
go.
I need a silly adjective. Adjective is a description word.
Okay.
Yeah, twerk. Can
Well,
we
to
say
work is
that?
a verb.
Oh,
Oh.
you said an adjective.
Yes.
Yeah,
Adjective.
adjective.
Oh,
How
I'm
to
sorry.
describe
A
something.
descriptive word.
Yes. You got it.
Okay, so like goofy.
Goofy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
there we go. And next up, why isn't this going faster? We're gonna need a quirky hobby.
A quirky hobby, underwater basket weaving.
Okay.
Ooh, like it.
And next, we're going to need a ridiculous verb ending in ing.
Twerking.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And hang on, it's taking its time popping up here. A comfort food.
Cake.
Cake. What about an oddly specific location?
Yellowstone National Park.
Okay.
Okay. Which has been making the news lately.
How's it?
Oh yes, not
One of my
because
favorite places.
not because of something that they've done, but because of a
Oh,
a
because
fake
of it.
social media account that
Oh.
got banned. It's so weird.
Oh,
Yeah, look
okay.
that one up.
Okay.
Let's do an absurd animal.
What's that one? Okapi?
What?
A copy? What's
What is
that?
that?
Copy? You know. Okay, good. Thank you. I
Okay.
didn't just make it up.
I'm just gonna spell that phonetically. What about a vehicle?
Subaru Outback.
Okay, of course.
Mhm. We're in Oregon.
Yeah.
And a
Are there other-
funny object can't be Subaru Outback. That's already been used.
Mm.
A funny object, a bouncy ball.
Okay. And we're going for a number.
12.
Okay. And let's see, there's one more thing. A cozy activity.
Oh, sitting on the couch watching Netflix.
Okay.
Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
That's a different
That's a
activity.
different
Oh.
activity. That would maybe be classified as a verb.
This is a PG-13
Oh,
podcast.
my bad. My bad.
All right. Okay. Are you ready?
Ready?
Here we go.
Here we go.
Let's see. This is what is the title of this? It lost me my title. Okay. This is called where'd it go? This is the Totally Normal Grief Therapy ad.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you grieving and also goofy? Call Tori Geter, licensed social worker and underwater basket weaving. the grief therapist who specializes in people who cope by twerking and eating cake in Yellowstone.
Oh, I think that's so
Oh,
At
that is
fantastic.
Tori
so
Geter
good.
Grief
Yeah.
Therapy, we know your feelings can be as unpredictable as an okapi in a Subaru Outback. And that's okay. We won't say everything happens for a reason. Instead, we'll hand you a bouncy ball,
Yep.
validate your grief,
Yes.
and help you schedule 12 sessions that feel more like sitting on the couch watching Netflix than a lecture.
Aw.
Mm.
Side effects may include more crying, more laughing, and finally admitting that you're doing something better than you think.
That's
Wow,
awesome.
that's
And
really
I think
good.
Subaru should sponsor this podcast.
I would agree with
I
Amen.
mean,
that.
Amen.
that
Or
like
some
really did it.
or
Yeah.
some like bouncy ball manufacturer or
Uh-huh.
something
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
Totally.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
That
told
was
you you were
actually better than I
going to
thought.
win the game.
I
so,
know.
Yeah. Well, what you did here today was
Yeah,
fantastic. Thank you
it
so
was
much
really good.
for being on the podcast.
Mhm.
This is the part where we give our take homes, and we're going to give you an opportunity to kind of maybe share something that you learned or something. Nobody learns anything here
No.
except for us. So, Kathy, you want to start?
Well, the jars. The jars.
Beautiful analogy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That I feel like that's where my life has gone.
Yeah.
And luckily I've reinvested in life because
That's right.
you could make that choice, right?
Yeah.
Where you don't.
Yeah.
And so where the grief is always there, it's just that your life kind of builds
That's
around
right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And I
beautiful.
did not make up the grief.
Sure,
I'm
but
just saying, I'm not
yeah,
going
but
to
you-
take credit for it.
Of
But
course you did.
Yes,
So no, that was really a
That was-
revelation,
that was
and I think
awesome.
one of the things that's most beautiful about it is anybody or anything that you care enough to grieve about
Mhm.
should make you bigger,
It should.
right? It
Aw.
should should increase you, and
That's
Mhm.
right.
That's a really
so-
good point.
it is.
Mhm.
I think my take home was I really I liked hearing that it's okay that I'm attached to some of these objects
I know,
that
I
they're
was feeling
tied
bad
to.
about that.
I know.
Aw.
I mean,
What did I
because
say about the second arrows?
yeah.
You then feel bad about like not
Yeah.
doing it right.
Yes.
Well, it
Yeah.
feels kind of
There it
dumb
is.
or
It
hokey or
does,
something like
like-
that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I
Oh,
think
I
I
still
think the other
have-
thing that I think about is my sister, when my mom passed away, she got some of her old clothes and she made them into quilts.
Oh, I've
So
heard of
everybody
that before,
has a quilt with mom's
Cool.
clothes,
Awesome.
and she sewed on these little quotes and everything like that. So that is when I get sick, when I'm not
Mm.
feeling good,
Oh.
that is the sole
That's
purpose
the
of that quilt.
thing.
It's the only
Love
time I
that.
use it. And I lost it for like a couple years, but I just found it. So it's like, I'm ready to get sick again. Like, give me some allergies, like maybe a sore knee or something like that,
Ooh,
or a
yeah.
hangnail
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can get wrapped up.
A hangnail.
But no, I like
beautiful.
that it is okay to be attached to these objects, and
Yeah.
they should help us think about the people
Mhm.
and the things that are important to us.
Yep.
Mhm.
You got any take homes for us?
You can stay connected to your loved one who
Oh,
has
that's
died,
great.
Mhm.
and you're not
Yes.
crazy for doing it.
Yes.
You know, like
Okay.
it actually is can be very comforting to stay connected and
Mhm.
write letters to, or
Hmm.
even
Like,
talk
would you say-
to. You know,
Yeah.
Would you say it's comforting like sitting on a couch watching Netflix?
Yeah. Yep. After that Okapi was driving the
Yes,
Subaru.
totally. Absolutely. Through Yellowstone. I can
Yes.
picture it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yep.
No, but thank you again. You are a
Yes.
wonderful person. I think
Yeah.
that anybody who has you as their therapist is
It's
really pretty
really,
lucky.
really lucky.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So-
I really, it's meaningful work to me. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you for
for
doing
having me.
it.
Good.
Yeah.
And I think there's one more thing, Kathy.
There is.
There's no I in pitch.